Today, Taiwan is a peaceful and progressive nation of 23 million people, defined by a combination of tradition and ambition. Yet, its storied history includes much hardship and violence. Known to the Chinese people as Jiang Jieshi or Jiang Zhongzheng, Chiang Kai shek was extremely controversial, though politicians the world over took note of his dedication and intelligence. Throughout his life, he would be featured on the cover of Time magazine 10 different times, but he faced poverty growing up. Chiang Kai shek was born in the city of Fenghua on October 31st, 1887. His wine merchant father died when Chiang was only 8, leaving the family reeling in shock and, at the same time, battling extreme poverty and the malnutrition that came with it. Sent to live with relatives, Chiang faced an unstable life. He was living with a family that, for all purposes, seemed temporary and fake, and even in his new home, wasn't sure he'd have enough food to get through the day. Finally, he ran off, joining the provincial army. Chiang's strong work ethic and steadfast loyalty caught the attention of his superiors, who sent him to the military academy at Paoting to further his career in the army. In 1907, at the age of 20, he began classes at the Military State College in Tokyo. There, he became familiar with the policies and ideas of Sun Yat-sen, the founder of the Kuomintang. The Kuomintang was a political party dedicated to what they called the three principles of the people, namely nationalism, democracy, and social reform. Chiang became a big believer in Sun Yat-sen's cause, joining him in fighting the Qin in the 1911 Xinhai Revolution. In fact, Chiang Kai-shek actually led a successful siege of Shanghai during the movement. The success didn't last long, though. The counter-revolution that soon followed sent him back to Japan. Eventually, Sun Yat-sen and the Kuomintang regained influence within China, and Chiang Kai-shek was installed as the head of the prestigious Whampoa Military Academy. A highly respected leader, Chiang Kai-shek became one of two potential candidates for Sun Yat-sen's positions after he died on the 12th of March, 1925. After struggling with Wang Qingwei for this power, Chiang Kai-shek emerged as the new head of the Kuomintang, eradicating communists from the organization as he took the reins. Chiang Kai-shek's time as leader of the Kuomintang was largely devoted to the eradication of communism. He commanded the army that sought to unite China in 1926, defeating the Communist Army and forcing them on the Long March from Jiangxi to Shanxi, and, in 1934, instituted the New Life movement, which reinforced Confucian ideals in order to obliterate communist ideas. In the midst of all this, Chiang Kai-shek also married Song Mei-ling, the U.S.-educated beauty with whom he shared a happy relationship. Furthermore, he increased infrastructure, building roads that connected the rest of China to his capital, Nanjing, and worked to improve the education system there. The Japanese invasion of China forced Chiang Kai-shek to move his capital to Chongqing in 1937, and he also suffered major losses at the coast, losing land not only there, but also most major cities as well. Realizing he had only two choices, collaboration with the communists and surrender, Chiang Kai-shek joined forces with Mao Zedong. Because they were fighting against the Japanese, Chiang's army received significant funds from the Americans after the bombing at Pearl Harbor brought them into the war. After the primary American general in charge of China, India, and Southeast Asia expressed the sentiment that Chiang Kai-shek was an inept leader, he was accused of being a supporter of communism and was soon replaced by a supporter of Chiang. Chiang was successful in ridding China of the Japanese, but a key aspect of his strategy was the communist guerrilla forces led by Zhu De and Lin Biao. The Japanese surrender was followed by a swift attack on the nationalists by these guerrilla forces, and this strength, coupled with the peasant support of the communists in the face of nationalist corruption, led the communists to gain control of China. In large part, Chiang Kai-shek is responsible for this shift in the public view, as he allowed corruption to flourish in the ranks of his underlings. Mao Zedong established the People's Republic of China on October 1st, 1949, leaving Chiang Kai-shek and the remainder of his army to flee to Taiwan. As president of the Republic of China, a country whose relations with the People's Republic of China remain tense as it claims the island belongs to them, Chiang Kai shek was stringent in ensuring no Taiwanese spoke out against his government. In fact, he would often jail those who supported communists or the idea that Taiwan would remain an independent nation as opposed to regaining the mainland. During this period of limited free speech and constant preparation for battle against the communists, dubbed the White Terror, circa 140,000 Taiwanese were jailed or executed. The White Terror finally ended when Chiang died on April 5, 1975.